Right, let's get started with our weekly bias outlook. We're going to start here on the monthly as usual. The most recent thing will be, of course, we've taken out that previous September monthly low. But to explain, everything else was on this bullish run. We have this bullish leg here, right, from this low to this high. We're currently within a premium. Right, in that premium, we mitigated some buy side liquidity from July's highs, and we also went into our monthly fair value gap up here and took some buy side liquidity from above these highs as well, where this black line is. We went into a premium bearish POI or PDA, right, mitigated that and closed last month with this sort of high test doji candle, taking buy side liquidity from previous months as well. So what's the picture? What do I expect? Right, so our discount is highlighted down here from the 0.5 area that I have from this low to this high. I expect price to be attracted towards this discount, this imbalance area here, right? Obviously, we have sell side liquidity targets below, so 1st of August here as well, where we expect reactions from. So it may take a matter of months to reach this level here, but this is my expectation. So what do we have in this area to attract price? Well, we have a BPR. We have that going from August into November here, where we have the up candle and down candle both leaving imbalances. Okay, so we have a monthly imbalance and also a monthly fair value gap here, just highlighted behind. Okay, so we expect price to go from external liquidity right up here, and after all the buy side liquidity we've taken previously, to then now start to seek out sell side liquidity right below these lows, but also into this imbalance area here, which is around equilibrium and the discount. Okay, of course price could pull back further into this BPR below here, but this is our first point of contact that I've highlighted. So that's what I'm expecting, sort of monthly pullback and then possible continuation of that bullish price action we've been seeing. Again, that could play out over a year or more, so I'm not going to get too wrapped up in that, but I am expecting bearish monthly price action. Okay, so far we're creating this bearish candle. So let's go down to the weekly. Let's see what that looks like for us. Okay, so here on the weekly, I'll just go through a bit of the price action again. We had our previous leg here from this low to this high, okay, where we'd mitigated this bullish POI or PDA here, bullish imbalance, created that bullish leg, and then again around here throughout the summer into now, you can see we was held between this bullish imbalance and order block, and then eventually took the buy side liquidity high, creating that new high into that monthly imbalance and previous buy side liquidity on these highs here. We closed that week out as a nice high test candle. I've highlighted it in yellow here, and I was expecting some bearish moves from that point onwards. We can see last week gave us the better bearish candle, right? We're still being held within this zone here, but we took a lot of sell side liquidity from these previous weekly lows, right? And we've come back into the order block, the bullish order block here, but I do expect weekly bearish pressure to continue quite possibly from this zone here, right, with this nice close. We've got the sell side liquidity from these August lows here, right, from July into August, just pointed out as the target. This is also the low of its current dealing range, so from this low to this high, which is why over here you can see where I've said weekly structure is not yet bearish. Why? Because we haven't broken this low. Okay, so we had this dealing range from this low to this high, then now this low to this high is our dealing range. We don't have much in terms of PDAs here to use except for our previous ones here that's holding price. I'm still expecting those bearish candles to seek out sell side liquidity right from below these lows here on our way down on this monthly pullback, where you can see we've got this monthly fair value gap high here drawn out on the weekly as well. So not much to show on the weekly, but again it's expressing that bearish pressure at the moment. Okay, so we'll see where that goes, and then once it breaks this low, we're fully aligned on the weekly as well. So I hope that's clear. Any questions, just let me know in the comments. Let's go down to the daily, where we get our better picture as day traders. Right, so the daily here, we've got a much clearer picture, much more PDAs to use and price action to go off of. Right, so let's just go through that price action again. You can see we had this price action here that was trending upwards, right? Bullish price action from July up until September, mid-September, where we look to have topped out, So we topped out around here and then started building our bearish order flow, right? So we pulled back, mitigated this BPR, PDA, POI here, broke down. This was our first sign of bearish order flow and bearish direction. And then now we pulled back up into the premium of this leg here, and we rejected our imbalance order block and even inverted order block down here. And this was also an OTE area. And then, you know, into the last week or so, we broke down and made a new bearish leg, confirming our bearish order flow and this market maker sell model. Now, this market maker sell model, the consolidation, original consolidation should be around here, this August low. To me, of course, in the wider picture, there is this low down here. However, right now, what's relevant to me for the immediate sell model is this formation here, right? So we have our buy side curve, sell side curve, and currently we're taking out those sell side curve, sell side liquidity points, right? Hopefully that sentence was clear. And we have our new bearish leg from this high to this low. Now let's get into this upcoming week, right? What I expect to see here. So from this high to this low, this is the premium zone here. I don't really expect price to pull back into this zone, right? It can happen, but we don't have any clear PDAs around this area here until we go back to here. We have this small BPR here where we have also an order block as well, deep into the premium. But I don't think price has to come back that far. But if it does, great. But there may be some lower time frame things that stop price going that way and continuing that order flow. Okay, we have also these inverted fair value gaps on this side as well. But we may just gun for our previous weekly low and BPR, right? So we'll see what happens. So what have I got noted here? Daily order flow is confirmed as bearish. We've got multiple sell side liquidity targets hit, with August low serving as our daily market maker sell model target for now. We have previous weekly low and this BPR high as our next draws on liquidity. So I expect us to go for this previous weekly low. And then I've got this here just to see once we hit this BPR. I'd expect reactions from this zone here, pullback, maybe even from this previous weekly low as well, right? But I'm expecting daily bearish candles. So today's Monday, it's a US bank holiday. I won't be trading today, but you can see we've been bearish all day. So we may just gun for these areas here without us. We'll see what happens. All right, so let's explore the lower time frames, 4 hour, 1 hour, see what that looks like. All right, so the 4 hour order flow won't be too dissimilar from the daily, of course, but you can see the smaller legs within that. You can see our most recent leg here, from this high to this low, swept some internal buy side liquidity there in this bearish fair value gap there, that imbalance. Price broke down eventually, okay, creating this new low, which is the previous weekly low. Now we pulled back overnight and over the weekend into today, and we came up into our bearish imbalance. This is also an order block, but I haven't drawn it out. And then we have our OTE zone here, which you see is holding price and the candle bodies, and we've just spiked into those imbalances there, and we look to be continuing bearish. Now will price have a little bit of resistance here, quite possibly, right, a little bit of support to pull back again before heading back down. We'll see, but that's not what's important. What's important is we have clear bearish order flow here. We've pulled back to a premium of the 4 hour, which is why we may not see the premium of that daily, which is further up here. Okay, and price may continue on for these previous weekly lows and sell side liquidity targets. So I think the 4 hours really clear. Everything's really clear there. You can see our bearish order flow coming from our bullish order flow here, which is the buy side curve, and now the sell side curve being created. So let's go on to the hourly. Right, so zoomed in here on the hourly picture, right, it's that same bearish leg. We've pulled back, took the buy side liquidity above here into that 4 hour fair value gap, price being held by that OTE on the 4 hour even, and we had that sort of bullish 1 hour pullback price action. Then we created a consolidation at the high here, and now we broke down again, say below this low here, to show some bearish movement, right, quite clearly. Now above us in price in this bearish leg from this high to this current low, we do have a fair value gap, which may come into use at a later time. We will see if we get any pullbacks before hitting these lows, right? And that may be some sort of resistance to us, a bearish PDA for us to look for trades from, maybe tomorrow. We'll see. Right, we have a lot of SMC or SMT divergence going on up here, positive and negative, right? So I'm looking at this as sort of a pool of liquidity still, but we did get buy side liquidity sweeps and a breakdown there. We'll see if price continues to target these lows here all the way down to the previous weekly low sell side liquidity. Okay, so I hope that's really clear. Right, you see the buy side liquidity, you can see this consolidation formation going on here. Right, price took some buy side liquidity and broke down, and we've got that bearish SMC as well, which signaled that weakness in the euro to break down. So everything's sort of going to plan. The high time frame daily bearish outlook and that monthly pullback is still playing out. Right, we can see our targets, the main draw on liquidity being this previous weekly low, right, and previous daily lows as well before then for this Friday low here, which I forgot to draw out currently, but it's fine. I'll draw it out maybe on the M15. Let's have a look at that. Right, so M15, not too different from the H1 obviously. Now I just drawn at these highs because they're kind of like relative equal highs around here, that they're a bit suspicious, right, as a buy side liquidity pool. So I'd probably be patient for some confirmations around this area if I were to trade from it. But again, we had the Asia range high, sell side liquidity taken, and it looks pretty good from there. So it's just a note, right? Nothing that may stop me trading from these zones here, but a bit of caution. We have weak lows here, right? You can see we build up that sell side liquidity sort of trend line going on here with all of these lows, and it's also the previous daily low sell side liquidity pool that I was talking about. That would be a great target, especially for today. If we were trading, price may just go and take out this target anyway, because it is the draw of liquidity target for today, and hopefully leaves behind the previous weekly low sell side liquidity. So we'll see what happens there. This is just the M15 view of things. Right, we took out Asia range high, and then we went and took out Asia range low, and these lows here from the afternoon. Right, no entries. You didn't see any sort of pullbacks into this order block here on the M15, but price action is heading in the predictable direction. Now to come away from the M15, because I'm not trading today, I remember our higher time frames like the hourly and this previous weekly low and this daily BPR as well. Okay, so that's everything, right? I'm going back up to the daily because it is a weekly outlook to remember, right? We are in a daily bearish order flow, right? For the rest of the week, I do expect bearish order flow to continue, right? Going for our main targets of previous weekly low and this BPR eventually into the week, with August low being the ultimate target and draw for the daily. Okay, again, the premiums above here, we may or may not see a pullback into this zone, using the lower time frame to look for trade entries to continue the order flow down into these areas. So I hope that was clear. Any questions, just let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next week.